Okay, we're going to start again with our space travel ship message, and this is based on the symbol for 0 that came from the Mayas. This is a continuation. This is part 16, and then I'll be showing diagrams of how the pyramids were made and what the thoughts were that came from this original meditation that I had on December the 10th, 2011. So this is a continuation of the last video where my batteries died on me. Okay, so during my meditation with the oxygen machine, clear quartz crystals, and Reiki healing CD from 3:15 p.m. till around 3:45 p.m., I received a message on how they travel in space quickly, what types of metals they use to build their spaceships, and these Mayans also reveal how they built the pyramids and how they raised the stone that stands straight up in the sky, and it's like the needle on a magnetic field compass. The same idea. With the pyramid, they shove the stone along the top, and the heat from the friction seals it. They used a round magnet overhead, several of them, hanging by ropes, and a wooden contraption that looks like those stone thrower things they used during the medieval wars to knock down large brick walls. To get the pieces up top, they rolled it from the bottom up on each step in a clockwise motion, with the magnets pulling most of the weight up, and the 100 or so men beneath were the strongest in the land, and they helped with this project. As for the stones that stand straight up in the sky, they were formed in a cast with a central of small round stones. They are magnetized again, the same as the needle that points north on the magnetic field of a compass. It works in the same way. For the spaceship, it's oval, oblong in shape with spikes on the outside of it to push asteroids away in meteor fields. It spins fast, same speed as Earth does, and travels at the same rate of speed on its own. In the center is a stable pod that floats within this spinning shell. It's held up with no gravity, floating in midair, but centered by the components within. The shell is made with lithium and magnesium, lightweight so that it can travel at a high rate of speed. And it says next page for diagrams. And I also have NASA scientist John A. O'Keefe published numerous papers between the 1950s and 1990s discussing these lunar rare earth isotopic and other chemistries and how they relate to Takite glass. That's going to come up in with the stuff. Now, I already gave you the diagram of space travel message. This is just I'm going to recoup here. This is what it looks like. You saw all this stuff already. We'll talk about crystallite, obsidian to be used for the mirrors. And then I also showed you the different sightings from all over the world of people that saw the same kind of ship that I saw in my dream. Okay? Next is what this topic's going to be about, is diagrams of how the pyramids were made. Now, I found all sorts of different things. I'm not finished with this research. I kind of gave up on it because there's really nothing online that deals with what I have. Okay, so it says a pyramid. The stone used to build the pyramids was limestone, quarried locally, and was cut to fit, not into freestanding blocks like the Great Pyramid of Giza. And then my next note says, and that's from Google, type of stone used to build pyramids. The next thing is magnetic studies of the Pendleside limestone, evidence for remagnetization and late diagnetic demolarization during a post-Asbian normal event. Undolomized limestones are characterized by the presence of magnetite and primary style of magnetic fabrics and an exclusively reversed NRM with mean direction of blah blah blah. The magnetization is considered to be a deposital, post-deposital remnant magnetization required before any significant ocean of the limestones. So the whole point of this research was to find out if limestones could be magnetic and if they could be attracted to each other. Because remember, in my statement from the meditation, I talk about the stones being attracted to one another, and that's what keeps them together. So dolomitized and silicified limestones are characterized by hematite. Some sulfide known now. Okay, so hematite becomes very important here because hematite is found in these limestones that they used for these pyramids, and hematite can become magnetic. And you're going to really freak out when you find out how they used to magnetize it 3,000 years ago. Okay, so limestone on limestone, coefficient of friction. The following friction coefficients shall be considered in calculating the sliding friction forces. So, of course, whenever I do a meditation and I get a little thought, I Google it and find out, is this thought true? Can it actually happen? And guess what? It can, according to these notes here. And it's showing the angle of repose. The angle of repose, or more precisely, the critical angle of repose of a granular material is the steepest angle of a descent or dip in the slope relative to the horizontal plane. So I was trying to figure out if they could slide the stones on top of each other and make this kind of shape here. And of course it says that they were able to do that. When bulk granular materials are poured onto a horizontal surface, a conile pile will form. The internal angle between the surface of the pile and the horizontal surface, known as the angle of repose, and related to the density, surface area, and shapes of the particles. So it's talking about friction of the material and the mechanics of it. So if you do Wiki angle of repose, you'll be able to read more about it. Procedure to measure and calculate the angle of repose. This is one of the things they do when they looked at the degrees of how the stones are built. When they do the research, they write about that. So that's what that's all about. We got angle of repose of various metals. Honestly, don't know what this means, but maybe you guys do. Okay, lodestone. A type of a mineral magnetite is a natural magnet and attracts iron particles to itself. Magnetite is an iron oxide, which is common in mineral, but the naturally occurring magnetized version is relatively rare, created only when a distinct event occurs to give it a magnetic field. Okay, so lodestones. Guess what lodestones are? Stonehenge. You know how man tries to figure out why are these lodestones built the way they are built? Well, it's because they attract lightning. When the lightning strikes the stones, it helps them become magnetized. And when you bring hematite over, which is in the limestone, up to these, it becomes magnetized. And it makes a stronger force. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but based on my research, that is exactly what can be done, and it is possible. So I'm thinking that they used this, they magnetized their limestones, and then they built their pyramids with them. And I'll show you why they had to magnetize them. Because they wanted to hang magnets above them to attract, or somehow attract the magnet up to the other magnet, and that would take a lot of the pressure off, a lot of the weight off of their hands. Then they would use the strongest men in the land to like lift stuff up, but they would use these magnets to take the brunt of the weight of the stone to lift it up to get it above the other stone. Now this is just a theory of mine from a meditation. I'm not saying it's true, but it's an idea that scholars can put together and try to figure out if it's true. Because a lot of scholars come up with theories of their own, scientific theories, and then they prove it. So I'm just going to show you the stuff that I found about it, and then you guys will be the ones that will have to prove it. So let's go back down here. So I looked up lodestones. I said, what mineral is a natural magnet? On eHow I found what mineral natural magnet. Scientists believe this occurs naturally when certain types of crystal structures and magnetite are struck by lightning, hitting them with a strong electric current that creates a magnetic field. So there's the proof of the lodestone becoming magnetic. The lightning did indeed turn the specific magnetite crystals into magnets, lodestones. Another way that magnetite becomes lodestones is when the minerals are heated past a certain temperature and then cooled back down. This would account for lodestones created during historical and current geologic processes. And that's your lodestone. Of naturally occurring pieces of tensely magnetic magnetite that were used for magnetizing compasses. And there's a piece of lodestone with nails. Cool, eh? Wouldn't that make some decorative artwork for your desk? So, it says, uses irreline energy flows in the body. Okay, so if you use this stone like around your neck on a crystal, You know how I got my little crystals hanging on. This is hematite here. And this is bloodstone. It's for your circulation of your body. So I wear those. So it says, use reline energy flows in the body, balances the intellect with inner emotions to bring about stability, balancing polarities such as male, female, physical, spiritual, left brain, right brain, aligns the chakras and connects the base in those chakras to the nurturing energies of the earth. And aids telepathy, meditation, visualization, strengthens trust in your own intuitions, magnetic qualities, attracts love, commitment, loyalty, relief from negative emotions. And I highlighted this part here. It says iron, steel, and ordinary magnetite are attracted to a magnetic field, including the Earth's magnetic field. Only magnetite with a particular crystalline structure, lodestone, has the coercity to act as a permanent magnet and attract and magnetize iron. This is the type of thing that they put in those stones that stand straight up. I believe that's why they stand straight up, is because they've used this in a mold and they put it in the middle of the mold of the two pieces of stone. They use lodestones to actually make those. I forgot to look up a picture of that for you guys. But anyways, you know, it's those things that stand up straight, and they're over by the Egyptian thingies. Okay, so megalithic sites is what these are. If you Google that, you'll find out standing stones and other sun traps, 10 British sites, astronomical alignments. Professor Alexander Thom, 1894 to 1925, a respected Scottish engineer who was fascinated by stone circles in Britain and France, and penned various books pertaining to archaeastronomy, including megalithic sites in Britain and megalithic lunar observatories back in the 60s and 70s. Stonehenge is a prehistoric stone circle in the county of Wiltshire, England, which was originally dated back to around 2400 BC. Though this has recently been amended between 24 and 2200, the site located is just over 8 miles north of the cathedral city of Salisbury, comprises several parts which were built up over a period of up to 1200 years. Bluestones excavated from wells make up the site's innermost circle, comprising 60 more concentric stones. The Curie temperature of magnetite is 858 K, 585 degrees Celsius, 1085 degrees Fahrenheit. It is black or brownish black with a metallic luster, has a hardness and a black streak. Lodestones were used as early form of magnetic compass. Magnetite typically carries the dominant magnetic signature in rocks, and so it has been a critical tool in paleomagnetism, a science important in discovering and understanding plate tectonics and as historic data for forget it. Okay, so it's talking about, you know, the plates in the earth, how they are connected together by magnetite. This is a little thing on how to make magnets, science, how stuff works. You can look up how magnets work and what they're capable of doing. And then we have ferro. Fluids are composed of nanoscale particles. Magnetite, hematite, or some other compound containing iron. This is small enough for thermal agitation to disperse them evenly with the carrier fluid. And they become paramagnetic. Forget that one. Hematite is ugly or dark and has a dull energy by itself, but it is far superior to the good stuff when near a strong magnet. Electromagnetism is the force that causes the interaction between electrically charged particles. I'm getting tired from this. Using magnets to move the limestone that has hematite in it, and this is magnetic. So there's my theory, and this is the evidence that, guess what? It is a possibility. So Feynman diagrams were originally discovered by Feynman by trial and error. In quantum electrodynamics, electromagnetic interactions between charged particles can be calculated using the method of Feynman diagrams. So it's something you want to look up for Wikipedia. Look up electromagnetism. And then there's the history of Castile structures. It's The ball court wars at other Mayan sites are constructed at 45-degree angles. And talks about the tour guys. And one of the fascinating things is there's no metal tools that have been found at Mayan sites. Okay, so there's that. Stonehenge is made with lodestones, and the structures are on a hill to be struck by lightning, and then they could use magnetite after getting it magnet to move the limestone. So that's the idea girl signing off on that video, and we'll go to the next one.